What if you had the power to prevent and maybe even reverse many of the deadliest diseases we face? Well, that's the huge claim at the heart of How Not to Die, a book by Dr. Michael Greger. He's a physician who has spent years digging through all the nutritional science out there. And what he found is that the answer might not be in a pill bottle, but right there on your plate. So let's jump in and see what the evidence says.
Right out of the gate, the book kicks things off with this amazing analogy. Think about it. Our medical system is often like someone frantically mopping up a flooded floor, but they're completely ignoring the sink that's overflowing and causing the mess in the first place. It makes you wonder, right? Why are we so focused on cleaning up the damage instead of just turning off the faucet? So, what is this overflowing faucet? Well, according to the research Dr. Greger presents, it's a huge blind spot in how we think about health and sickness altogether.
In this slide really gets to the heart of the problem. Our system is what you call fee-for-service. That means the money is in interventions, pills, surgeries, tests. There's not really a built-in reward for a doctor to spend half an hour talking to you about what you're eating, even if that conversation could be the very thing that turns off the faucet. This quote from Harvard's Dr. Walter Willett just nails it. The root cause of so many of our health problems isn't a Lipitor deficiency or a Prozac deficiency, right? The problem is often in our lifestyle, but we're treating it with drugs that just manage the symptoms instead of getting to the actual cause.
So let's talk about what's really at stake here, because it couldn't be more serious. The book focuses on the top diseases that are killing most of us in the Western world, and it starts with the biggest one of all.
400,000. Just let that number sink in. That's about how many Americans die from heart disease every single year. To put that in perspective, that's someone dying every 83 seconds, 24/7. And here's the part that is truly frightening. For most of these people, there are no flashing warning signs, no second chances. The very first symptom they have is their last. It's a terrifying thought, and it's exactly why prevention is so incredibly important.
And this timeline is a real eye-opener. Heart disease isn't something that just happens when you get old. Dr. Greger points to studies showing that the first stage, these things called fatty streaks in our arteries, can be found in almost all American kids by the time they're just 10 years old. It's a slow burn that starts in childhood.
And it's not just heart disease. I mean, look at the explosion of type 2 diabetes. The numbers have gone through the roof since 1990, and the CDC is projecting that if things keep going like this, 1 in 3 Americans could be diabetic by the middle of this century. That is a staggering public health crisis. Okay, I know, that all sounds incredibly grim, but this is the point in the book where everything pivots from the problem to the solution. And it's a solution that taps into this amazing power that we all have inside of us. This is the big reveal. The book is packed with research showing that when people switch to a whole food, plant-based diet, their bodies can actually start to reverse the damage. Their own bodies start dissolving the plaque in their arteries, opening them back up naturally without drugs or surgery. And this is the central idea of the whole book. It's not some kind of miracle, it's just biology. Our bodies are literally designed to heal. We just have to stop injuring them long enough for them to do what they're meant to do. So the question is, how are we injuring them? Well, the prescription isn't a pill, it's a plant. The book argues that the right conditions for healing come directly from the food we eat, specifically a diet built around whole plant foods. And this analogy just makes it so crystal clear. Imagine you whack your shin on a coffee table. It hurts, it gets inflamed, but eventually it heals, right? But what if you whacked that same spot again at breakfast, lunch, and dinner? It would never get a chance to heal. The research suggests that's exactly what many of us are doing to our arteries with every meal. Okay, so food is the tool. How do you actually use it? The great thing about this book is it doesn't just diagnose the problem, it gives you a simple, practical way to think about the solution. This is where the daily dozen comes in. Now, this is not a strict diet. It's more like a simple checklist Dr. Greger created to help you remember to get some of the healthiest, most protective foods into your routine. It's all about building good habits, not being perfect. And these are the stars of the show. We're talking about things like beans and lentils for fiber, berries for brain-protecting antioxidants, leafy greens to help our arteries, nuts and seeds for healthy fats. The list goes on. The whole idea is just to try and check off as many of these boxes as you can each day. So let's pull all of this together.
The big takeaway message from all this research is really one of empowerment. The future of your health isn't just decided in a doctor's office. So much of it is decided right in your own kitchen.
Look at this comparison. It's pretty stark. A typical breakfast can cause this wave of inflammation and what's called oxidative stress. You can think of it as a kind of biological rust. But a breakfast like oatmeal with berries, it does the exact opposite. It floods your body with antioxidants that go to work putting out those fires.
So it all boils down to a few simple ideas. Choose whole plant foods. Choose unprocessed foods. I love this rule from Michael Pollan. If it came from a plant, eat it. If it was made in a plant, don't. It's such a simple way to guide your choices towards real, nourishing food.
Now, of course, it's super important to remember this is a summary of the science presented in the book. It's powerful information for sure, but it is not a substitute for professional medical advice. You should always, always talk to your doctor about your health. And this table is a fantastic little summary. The book goes deep on each of our top killers, showing how specific foods can help fight back. For heart disease, things like whole grains and greens. For cancer, cruciferous veggies like broccoli. For high blood pressure, nitrate-rich foods like beets and arugula. It's like using food with a purpose. The ultimate message of this whole book is simple but profound. Chronic disease doesn't have to be your destiny. The science in How Not to Die suggests that so much of the power to change that destiny is sitting right there, at the end of your fork. And that leaves you with one last big question to think about. What if we started to shift our focus from the medicine cabinet to the pantry? What if the most powerful pharmacy you had access to was your very own kitchen?